She saved a man from being hit by a truck unaware. It was the mafia boss who wouldn't let her go. The New Orleans night sticks to my skin, a damp film smelling of old rain and the sour breath of the Mississippi. It is late, almost 2 a.m, and the Marigny docks are a ghost town of stacked containers and silent cranes. My name is Ava Quintero. I am 26 years old, and my life is the smell of garlic and lime, the hiss of the flat top, and the heavy rumble of my food truck, La Sirena Azul. I'm just trying to close up. I slam the aluminum service window shut, the sound echoing flat and dead against the corrugated steel warehouses. My muscles ache. The last customer, a longshoreman finishing a double, left an hour ago. Now, it is just me and the fog. I wipe my hands on my apron, grab the day's earnings, and lock the cash box. I just want to go home, soak my feet, and not think about the stack of bills waiting on my counter. I step off the curb, my keys cutting into my palm. The streetlight at the corner, where Press Street meets the dock road, is busted again. It just throws a weak, stuttering yellow pulse into the gloom. That is when I hear it. It is not the normal groan of a container truck maneuvering. This is a roar, a high-pitched, desperate whine of an engine being pushed past its limit. A set of headlights blasts through the fog, coming from the container yard, a heavy-duty rig, the kind that hauls gravel, and it is moving way too fast. It blows right through the flashing red light, fishtailing on the wet pavement. It looks like the brakes are gone. It looks out of control. And there is a man. He is right in its path, just walking across the dark intersection, a cell phone pressed to his ear, his head down. He's oblivious. He has no idea that 10 tons of steel are about to erase him from the planet. My mind does not have time to process. My body just moves. I have a 20-pound bag of rice in my hand, the last of my restock, ready to load into my car. I do not even remember picking it up. I drop it, kicking the heavy sack hard against the front wheel of my rolling prep cart, chalking it in place. I lunge back toward my truck, my palm slamming onto the dashboard through the open driver's window, and I yank the handbrake up until my shoulder screams. The truck groans and settles. I am already gone. I launch myself off my own running board, my sneakers slipping on the wet asphalt knee. 2 steps. That is all I have. I hit the man like a linebacker. I do not yell. I just grab. My fingers tangle in the thick wool of his suit jacket. I use every ounce of my weight, twisting my body, pulling him backward as hard as I can. We are a tangle of limbs. I shield him with my back as we slam into the brick wall of the old customs house. The rough brick tears through my chef's coat, scraping my skin raw. The paint from a giant graffiti mermaid feels cold against my cheek. Metal screams. A sound so loud it vibrates in my teeth. A violent shower of orange sparks explodes in the space where the man was standing just 1 second ago. The truck's massive chrome bumper scrapes the curb, catches a cast-iron dumpster, and sends it flying like a tin can. The dumpster disintegrates against a light pole. The truck never slows, it lurches, corrects its path, and then it is gone, swallowed by the rain, its taillights vanishing into the dark. No horn, no squeal of brakes, just the fading echo of its engine. I am shaking. My heart is a trapped bird against my ribs. I am breathing in brick dust, rain, and him. He smells good. Not like the docks, not fish and diesel and rust. He smells like cedarwood and something warm, like cinnamon smoke. I am plastered against him. He is solid, like a statue. He barely moved when we hit the wall. I push myself off, my hand sliding on the front of his black shirt. It is thick, expensive cotton. My God, I whisper. I look at his hand. His knuckles are split open, bleeding freely where they smashed against the brick. But his eyes are not scared. They are not in shock. They are the color of the river at midnight, dark and perfectly calm. He does not even look at the road, at the debris from the dumpster. He's looking right at me. And there is something in those eyes, something still and deep and dangerous. "You all right?" His voice is low, steady. It does not fit the docks. It is clipped, precise, with an edge of the Northeast, like Boston or New York. All the adrenaline coursing through me curdles into sudden, hot anger. "Am I all right?" I snap, my voice trembling. "You almost died. What is wrong with you just walking into the street like that on your phone?" I look down at my own hand. My wrist is on fire. It is already turning a sick, dark purple. A rope burn from the force of grabbing his jacket and pulling. My back stings, a warm trickle of blood soaking through my shirt. Before he can answer, new headlights slice through the rain. A black SUV, the kind that costs more than my entire apartment building, glides to the curb. It has no logos. The windows are so dark they look like polished obsidian. Two men get out before it even stops rolling. They are wearing identical black suits, white shirts, no ties. They move like panthers, their eyes scanning the dark, the rooftops, the alleys. They ignore me completely. They flank the man, one on each side. "Mr. Giannini," one of them says, his voice flat, empty. "Are you secure?" "Mr. Giannini." The name echoes in the damp air, and a different kind of cold sinks into my bones. The man, Mr. Giannini, finally looks away from me. He gives his men a short, sharp nod. Secure. He turns back to me. His calm is more terrifying than the truck was. "Rocco Giannini," he says, as if he is introducing himself at a dinner party. "I'm a private port investor." He offers his good hand, the one that is not bleeding. I stare at it. I do not take it. I have worked these docks for 3 years. I know the shipping manifests, the union reps, the security patrols. I have never heard of a private port investor named Rocco Giannini. But I have heard the whispers, the stories the fishermen and the longshoremen tell over cheap beer, whispers about Vesper Vale, the Shadow Network, the men who really own the warehouses, the ones who control every crate, every ship, every ounce of cargo that moves on this stretch of the Mississippi. And I know the name they whisper when they talk about the man at the top. I am staring right at him. Rocco Giannini glances at my swelling wrist, then at the shredded remains of the dumpster. "You're injured," he states. It is not a question. "My men will take you to get that looked at, for liability." I want to say no. I want to tell him to get lost, to take his liability and his black-suited men and disappear. I do not take favors from shadows. But my wrist is throbbing, a deep, painful pulse. And then I see it. My truck. When the rig swerved, it must have clipped it. The heavy steel rim of my service window, the one I just slammed shut, is buckled. It is bent inward, the glass spiderwebbed. I cannot open it. I cannot serve from it. I cannot work. My anger vanishes, replaced by cold, hard panic. That repair will cost hundreds, maybe $1,000 I do not have. "Fine," I say, my voice tight. "Just a checkup, then I'm gone." One of his men, the one who spoke, holds the rear door of the SUV open. The inside smells like new leather and cold air, sterile and silent. I will not be in this man's debt, but I cannot fix my truck with a broken wrist. I turn back. Ignoring the men watching me, I lean into the cab of my truck, my safe space, and grab 2 things. My keys and my father's old metal box. It is a battered tin thing, heavy and locked. It holds all our family secrets, the recipes for my grandmother's empanadas, my father's marinade for the pernil, and hidden beneath a false bottom, it holds the one thing he gave me before he died, a small, black USB drive, a secret he told me to protect with my life. I clutch the cold metal box to my chest and slide into the back of the black SUV. The door closes with a heavy, final thud, sealing out the sound of the rain. The ride in the SUV is like being sealed in a vacuum. The silence is thick, broken only by the rhythmic thwack-thwack of the windshield wipers. The 2 men in the front do not speak. I sit in the back, clutching my father's metal box to my chest. The streetlights of New Orleans smear past the tinted windows, a watercolor blur of neon and wet asphalt. We are not heading toward any hospital I know. We leave the familiar territory of the Marigny and dive deep into the Garden District. where the oak trees are ancient and the mansions hide behind curtains of Spanish moss and wrought iron fences. We pull into a gravel driveway, shielded from the street by a high brick wall. There is no sign, no flashing red emergency light, just a discreet brass plaque on a heavy mahogany door, the Oratorio Clinic. It looks less like a medical facility and more like a place where old money comes to quietly die. One of the men leads me inside. The air does not smell of antiseptic and bleach. It smells of beeswax, lemon oil, and old leather. There is no waiting room packed with coughing people. There is just a wide, silent hallway floored in black and white marble. Rocco Giannini is already here. He's standing in the center of the room, under a crystal chandelier, as if he owns the place, which he probably does. He's shrugging into a fresh black shirt, the one he was wearing now gone. His hand, the one he scraped against the brick wall, is neatly wrapped in a pristine white gauze bandage. A nurse with a face like polished stone and eyes that miss nothing motions for me. This way, please. I am led into an examination room that looks more like a luxury hotel suite. The machines are all new, sleek, and terrifyingly expensive. The nurse is efficient, her movements quick and impersonal. She cuts away the torn, blood-stiffened fabric of my chef's coat and cleans the scrapes on my back. The sting of the antiseptic is sharp, but I bite my lip and stay silent. A doctor, an older man with silver hair and a crisp suit that must have cost $5,000, examines my wrist. He moves it gently, his touch practiced. "Just a sprain," he announces to the room, not to me. The x-rays show no fractures. The abrasions on her back are superficial. The x-ray, I do not even remember them taking one, but I must have zoned out. The nurse wraps my wrist in a tight compression bandage, the pressure easing the throbbing ache. She hands me a folded black scrub top. "Yours was soiled." When I walk back out, Rocco is sitting in a high-backed leather chair, one leg crossed over the other. He stands as I enter. He does not look at my face. He does not look at my bandaged wrist. He is staring at my hands. My fingernails are cut short, practical for a cook. There are faint, permanent stains of turmeric under the nails and a line of engine grease embedded in the cuticle of my right thumb from where I tried to fix a generator cable this morning. His hands, even the bandaged one, are immaculate. His nails are clean, shaped. He is a man who has never had to clean his own grease trap. "The truck," he says. His voice is a low rumble in the quiet room. "La Sirena Azul, the Blue Mermaid, that is yours." It is not a question. Yes. I hold the metal box tighter, my one piece of home, my one piece of armor in this sterile, foreign place. "It is damaged, the service window?" "I saw it," I say, my voice clipped. I will not show weakness. I will not ask him for anything. The silence stretches, thick and heavy. He is waiting for me to panic, to ask for help. I just stare back at him. My gaze drifts past his shoulder, through a tall, frosted glass window that faces the street. I can see shapes moving in the rain outside. Men in dark suits. They are not police. They are talking to the dock's private security, and the security guard is nodding, his head bowed, looking terrified. The wreckage of the dumpster is already being loaded into an unmarked flatbed truck. And then I see it. A dark, heavily modified pickup truck, the kind built for speed, peels away from the curb, its tires spitting water, and roars off toward the bridge. They are not just cleaning up, they are hunting. A television is mounted on the wall, tuned to a local 24-hour news channel, the volume muted. A banner crawls across the bottom of the screen. Breaking Kestrel City Authority announces surprise inspection sweep of Port Orpheus docks. A photo of a smug-looking man in a hard hat flashes on the screen. Rocco sees me reading it. He picks up a remote from the side table, and the screen goes black. A new man enters the room. He's older, maybe in his 60s, with a full head of beautiful silver-gray hair. He wears his suit like a second skin. He walks right past me as if I am a piece of furniture and stops in front of Rocco. "Rafe," Rocco greets him. This man, Rafe, keeps his voice low, but in the oppressive silence of the clinic, I hear every word. There should not have been any commercial traffic on Orpheus 3 tonight. That route was supposed to be cold. Rocco's jaw tightens. I am aware. Rafe's gaze finally slides to me. His eyes are cold, analytical. He's looking at a problem, a loose thread, a civilian witness who saw too much. Rocco takes one step, subtly positioning himself between me and the older man. He focuses his full attention back on me, and the room seems to shrink, the other men fading into the background. You saved my life, he says. He states it simply, a fact, not an emotional admission, but a ledger entry. I am in your debt. He pulls a wallet from his pocket, extracts a single card, and holds it out. It is made of thick, heavy cardstock. Just a name, Rocco Giannini, and a 10-digit phone number. No company, no title, no address. My associate will handle the repairs for your truck, he says. He will also compensate you for your lost work time. I do not want your money, I say. My voice is steadier than I feel. It is not a gift, it is repayment. He does not raise his voice. He does not need to. His certainty is its own kind of volume. You were injured. Your property was damaged. I fix what is broken. That is the rule. I want to throw the card in his face, but I think of my truck, my livelihood. I think of the empty shifts, the bills piling up. Just the window, I say, my teeth clenched. Just fix the window. I will cover my own time. A flicker of something surprised respect passes through his dark eyes. As you wish. He slides the card into the pocket of the scrub top the nurse gave me. His fingers brush the fabric over my collarbone, a touch so light it is barely there, but it burns like a brand. I need to go, I say, pulling back. I can get a cab. No, he says. The word is final. The rain is still heavy, and there are reckless drivers out there tonight. The way he says reckless makes my blood run cold. He's warning me. He is confirming what I already suspect. That was no accident. Rafe will see you home, he says, already turning away, dismissing me. The meeting is over. I am back in the SUV. This time, the silver-haired man, Rafe, is driving. Rocco is nowhere to be seen. We drive in complete silence. I watch the rain-slicked streets of my neighborhood pass by. I am replaying the crash, over and over, the roar of the engine, the speed, the way it never even tried to stop. And the license plate. I close my eyes, trying to picture the back of the truck as it sped away into the gloom. There was nothing, just a flat, dark rectangle caked in mud. A rig hauling gravel without plates on a secure dock route. It is impossible. It was a ghost, a weapon. Rafe pulls up to my building, a 3-story walk-up in the bywater, with peeling paint and wilted flowers in the window boxes. Before I can open the door, Rafe turns in his seat. His eyes are like chips of gray ice. He just taps the passenger window. I look, and my heart stops. Rocco Giannini is standing on the sidewalk, in the pouring rain. He's just there. He must have followed us in another car. I get out, pulling my father's box from the seat. The rain is cold, plastering the thin scrub top to my skin. He does not have an umbrella. He just stands there, the water dripping from his dark hair, his expensive suit soaked. He looks like a statue of a vengeful god planted on my sidewalk. One last thing, he says, his voice perfectly clear over the storm. I just wait. If anyone asks what happened tonight, the police, your friends, the insurance company, anyone, you tell them the wind was high. I frown. The wind. It blew that dumpster into the street. It startled me, and I fell. You were kind enough to help me up. I stare at him. The lie is so simple, so absurd. The truck, the sparks, the speed, all of it, erased. A dumpster, I repeat, my voice flat. You want me to say I saved you from a dumpster? Yes. He steps closer. He's too close. I can smell the cedar and the cinnamon again, now mixed with the smell of fresh rain. It is less complicated for you. It is less trouble for everyone. Do you understand, Ava? He knows my name. I never told him my name. The nurse, the clinic, they must have taken my driver's license from my wallet. My entire body goes cold. I nod slowly, my throat too tight to speak. I understand. He holds my gaze for 1 second longer. It feels like an eternity. He's not just looking at me. He is reading me. He's memorizing me. Then he gives one sharp nod, turns, and gets into the back of the idling SUV. The door slams shut. The car pulls away from the curb, its red taillights reflecting on the wet pavement, and disappears. I am left standing alone, soaked to the bone, my wrist aching and shaking with a fear that has nothing to do with the cold. The sun comes up gray and mean, pressing through the humidity. My wrist is a dull, throbbing knot. I did not sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw headlights. La Sirena Azul looks pathetic in the morning light. She's parked in the alley behind Arcadia Square, our usual prep spot. A narrow canyon between 2 old brick warehouses, the bent service window is a black eye, a visible sign of my weakness. He hit you hard enough to buckle a steel frame, June says, her voice echoing as she leans halfway into the generator housing. This is not just the wind blew a dumpster into me, Ava. Juniper June Hart. She's my best friend, my chosen family, and the only reason my truck runs at all. She's a mechanical and electrical genius, with hands permanently stained with motor oil and a braid of fiery red hair that is always escaping its tie. She can rewire a transformer with a paperclip and a piece of gum. I am holding a heavy wrench, my bandaged wrist making the grip clumsy. I know, just let it go. June, it is handled. Handled, she scoffs, her voice muffled. Right, handled by who? The window fairies. She slides out, wiping her forehead with her arm, leaving a grease smudge. This guy, this Rocco, he's paying for this. He said his associate would handle it. June freezes, her ratchet held in midair. Associate, oh, Ava. No, what kind of associate handles a 2 a.m. hit and run at the docks? You are in something deep. I knew those docks were shady. I am not in anything mata, I snap, testing the seal on a propane tank. I was just there. Wrong place, wrong time. Look, can we just focus? The Riverlight Festival application is due in 2 days, and we cannot submit if our kitchen is not up to code. This window makes us not up to code. The Riverlight Festival. It is our dream. Our ticket out of the dockside hustle and into the mainstream. It is the biggest community event of the year. Sponsored by the Port Orpheus Commerce Committee, getting that contract would mean real money, real exposure. It would mean we could finally breathe. Fine, June says, picking up a soldering iron. We can bend the frame back, but the glass is shot. We will have to use plexiglass for now. It will not look pretty, but it will pass inspection. As if summoned by the word, a shadow falls over us. Well, La Sirena Azul, still in one piece, mostly. My stomach clenches. I turn around, slowly. He's wearing the tan, ill-fitting uniform of the Kestrel City Authority. His name is Brocklin. He's a short, greasy man with a clipboard and the dead eyes of a catfish. He's the king of petty shakedowns. Brocklin, I say, my voice flat. Heard you had some trouble last night, he says, with a slimy smile. He makes a note on his clipboard. Looks like you have got some significant structural damage. That is going to be a problem. It is superficial, June says, stepping in front of me. I'm repairing it right now. We are perfectly safe. Brocklin ignores her, his eyes fixed on me. I'm going to need to do a full sanitation check. Right now, given the circumstances. We just passed inspection 2 weeks ago, I say, crossing my arms. And now I am inspecting again, he says, tapping his clipboard. Of course. These spontaneous checks can be stressful. A small administrative facilitation fee could expedite the process. Say $200 to make sure I find everything in order. There it is, the shakedown. It is not the first time, but today, after last night, my patience is gone. No, I say. Brocklin's smile vanishes. What did you say? I said no. You want to inspect. Go ahead. Check the temperature logs. Check the seals. Check the grease trap. We are clean, but I am not paying you a bribe. June looks at me like I have just set myself on fire. Brocklin's face turns a blotchy red. He scribbles furiously on his clipboard, then rips off a yellow sheet and slaps it onto the truck's busted window frame. Fine. Citation. He spits. Non-compliant structural integrity, leaking fluids. That is condensation, June yells. An improper waste disposal. That is $500, and your truck is grounded until it is paid and recertified by my office. Have a nice day. He turns and stalks off, disappearing around the corner. Ava, what did you do? June whispers, her face pale. You do not say no to those guys. The Kestrel Authority is the Port Orpheus Committee. They are the ones who grant the Riverlight contract. We are done. We are finished. I lean against the truck, the fight going out of me. I am sick of it, June. I am sick of being pushed around by greasy little men. That greasy little man just killed our future, June throws her wrench into the toolbox. You should have just taken the investors' money. You should have let him handle this. I do not want to owe men like that, I say, my voice quiet. I do not want to be handled by anyone outside the law. Newsflash, Ava, June says, her voice bitter. Brocklin is the law, or close enough, and you just spit in his eye. That night, my apartment feels too quiet. The city's sounds are muffled. I cannot stop thinking. I am trapped. Brocklin will bleed me dry until I pay. The Riverlight contract is smoke. My truck is broken. I remember Rocco Giannini's words. It is less complicated for you. He knew. He knew this would happen. He knew that the system I was trying to trust, the Kestrel Authority, was just as rotten as the truck that tried to kill him. I look at my father's metal box, sitting on my small kitchen table. My hands are shaking. Only open it if you are in real, true danger, mija. My father was a good man, a chef, like me. He ran a small fonda in Miami until he saw something he should not have. Some account book, some delivery schedule. He fled to New Orleans, bringing nothing but me and this box. He died of a heart attack 2 years ago, always looking over his shoulder. I am in danger. Papi, I am in real danger. I use the small key I wear on a chain around my neck. The lock clicks. I open the lid. The smell of old paper, cardamom, and dried chilies hits me. There are his handwritten recipe books, the pages soft and stained. And underneath the false bottom, just like he showed me, is the USB drive. It is plain black with a small, handwritten label stuck to it, Sol de Medianoche, the midnight sun. My phone buzzes on the table, a number I do not recognize, a text message. We know you have it, the drive. Bring it to the St. Celeste Bridge. Midnight. Come alone. My blood turns to ice. My breath catches in my throat. It is impossible. No one knew. No one but my father and me. June does not even know about it. How? Then, a sound, a shattering crash from the street below. I run to the window, my heart hammering. I look down at the alley where La Sirena Azul is parked. The other window, the windshield, is a spiderweb of broken glass. A brick is sitting on the driver's seat. I fly down the stairs, my bandaged wrist screaming in protest. I get to the truck. The street is empty. I lean in through the broken window. Pulling out the brick, there is a piece of paper wrapped around it, held by a rubber band. My hands are shaking so hard I can barely unfold it. 4 words typed in blocky, impersonal letters. Stay quiet about the accident. This is not about Brocklin. This is not about the docks. This is about last night. This is about Rocco. And now, somehow, it is about my father's drive. The 2 worlds have collided, and I am standing at the impact site. I lean against the cold metal of my truck, breathing hard. Call the police. Call 911. I pull out my phone. My thumb hovers over the icon. And I stop. Who do I call? The Meridian Bureau. The city's anti-fraud unit. I know that game. I have seen other vendors try. You file a report against someone connected to Port Orpheus, and your report disappears. Your permits get revoked. Your suppliers suddenly run out of everything you need. The police here are not a shield. They are just another filter, and they filter out people like me. I am alone. I am being squeezed by the law and hunted by the shadows. Both sides want to crush me. My fingers tremble as I open my contacts. I look at the new entry, the one I added this morning. Just the 10 digits. I open a new text message. My thumb types out the words before my brain can stop it. I need some public security footage. I want to know who is following me. I hit send, and I stand in the dark, next to my ruined truck, waiting for the devil I know to answer. His reply is a single word, address, followed by a set of coordinates. It is not a bar, not a restaurant. It is a heavy, unmarked steel door in an alley in the warehouse district, a place you would only find if you knew it was there. I knock. A small slot slides open. A pair of eyes look me over, and the door buzzes open. The name is Club Thalim. I only know it from kitchen gossip, a place where the air is expensive and the real owners of the city come to listen to jazz. The inside is nothing like the docks. It is all dark wood and deep velvet. The air is filled with blue smoke, so thick it catches the low stage lights, making the room feel like it is underwater. And the music. It is just a single trumpet playing a slow, mournful tune that sounds like loneliness itself. Rocco Giannini is not at the bar. He's in a private booth in the back, shielded by a heavy curtain. He is alone. A glass of dark amber liquid untouched on the table. He rises when I enter. "You came," he says. "You said you had footage." He gestures to the laptop on the table, already open. "My technical partners are very thorough." He turns the screen. It is not the dock footage. This is from a different camera, grainy and high angle, overlooking an alley 3 blocks away from the crash. The timestamp is 10 minutes after I was put in the SUV. The truck, the one that almost killed him, pulls into the alley. It stops. A man jumps out of the cab. He's wearing dark clothes and a red baseball cap, pulled low, hiding his face. He moves quickly to the back of the rig, rips the muddy license plate off, and throws it into a storm drain. He pulls a new plate from under his jacket and slaps it on. He gets back in the truck, and seconds later, it is gone. "He changed the plates in the middle of the rain," I whisper. "He is a ghost," Rocco says, closing the laptop. The screen goes dark, reflecting my own pale face. He knew the camera blind spots. He knew the patrol routes. He knew exactly where to be. And who was he? Rocco leans back, lacing his fingers together. A new group. They call themselves the Ochre Hand. They are trying to move in on the ports, challenge my organization. They are sloppy. They like noise. They like making statements. A cold realization washes over me. That was a statement. That was an assassination attempt, and he corrects me, his voice perfectly level. They use staged accidents, cargo mishaps, faulty wiring. It is their signature. And I was the target. The trumpet hits a high, wailing note that shivers down my spine. "I do not think they are just after you," I say, my voice barely audible. The club, the smoke, the danger. It is all pressing in on me. I think they are after me, too. I tell him about the anonymous text message, the one demanding the USB drive at the St. Celeste Bridge. I tell him about the brick through my windshield, about the warning. For the first time, Rocco's calm, measured composure breaks. It is not a big change, just a tightening of the muscles around his jaw, a sudden, dangerous darkening in his eyes. "A USB drive," he asks, his voice lower, harder. "What is on it?" "I do not know. My father gave it to me. He told me to protect it." Rocco looks away from me, into the blue haze of the club. He seems to be calculating, running through a dozen scenarios in his head. "Your father, what did he do before he came to New Orleans?" "He was a chef, in Miami." "Just a chef." Rocco's gaze snaps back to mine, sharp and penetrating. "Men like this do not send anonymous threats for family recipes. Ava, it is possible your father saw something he should not have. Account books, shipping manifests, a shadow financial ledger." The music shifts. The lonely trumpet is joined by a stand-up bass and a soft, brushed snare drum. A slow, simmering tempo. Out on the small floor, 1 or 2 couples get up, moving together like shadows. Rocco stands up. He does not ask. He just holds out his hand. "Dance with me," he says. It is not a request. My body is screaming, no. This is insane. I am a food truck cook. He's a mafia boss. I am in a secret jazz club, talking about assassination plots and my dead father's secrets. But I am also trapped, and some terrified, reckless part of me wants to know what happens next. I put my hand in his. His skin is warm, his grip firm. He leads me onto the small, dark dance floor. He does not pull me close, not in a traditional embrace. He just puts one hand on my back, his palm resting right at the curve of my hip. It is a light touch, just the weight of his hand, but it is undeniably firm. It is a touch that claims, that controls. I am stiff, awkward. I smell the cedar and cinnamon on him again. Under the scent of the club's expensive smoke, my breath hitches in my throat. I am hyper-aware of everything. The thrum of the bass in the floorboards, the heat of his hand through the thin fabric of my top, and the dull, persistent throb from my bandaged wrist. The ache is a strange anchor, reminding me how I got here, how real this all is. He leans in, his lips close to my ear. His breath is warm. "From now on, I am putting men on your truck, and on your apartment, 24 hours a day. It is non-negotiable." The words send a jolt of anger through me, cutting through the fear. I pull my head back, looking him in the eye. "I am not a piece of your property." His eyes hold mine. There is no apology in them, only a dark, unsettling gravity. "No," he whispers, his voice rough. "You are not, but you just walked into the intersection of several loaded guns. You are a witness, and now, because of that drive, you are a target. They will not stop." My skin is damp from the humidity, from the fear. His gaze drops from my eyes. Just for a second, it lingers on my collarbone, where I can feel the pulse hammering. I see his throat move, a slight, controlled swallow. The air between us is electric, so thick I can barely breathe. Then, just as quickly, he pulls back, a fractional move, just half an inch, but the connection is broken. He has regained his composure. He is in control. The song ends. The trumpet fades, leaving only the sound of my own heart in my ears. He walks me to the door of the club, the heavy steel door that leads back to the real world. He does not say goodnight. He does not touch my arm. He just stops in front of me. He lifts his hand, the one he had scraped on the bricks, now bandaged in clean white gauze. He gently, so gently, brushes his knuckles against the bandage on my sprained wrist. It is a tiny gesture. It is not a caress. It is not a threat. It is just contact, knuckle to bandage, but a jolt of pure heat shoots up my arm, coiling low in my stomach. It is more intimate than a kiss. I must have pulled back, because the next second, he has dropped his hand. "Go home, Ava. Lock your doors, and do not, under any circumstances, go to the St. Celeste Bridge." I turn and push through the door, bursting out into the humid night air. I get in my car and I drive, but my heart is not right. It is not keeping a steady beat. It is erratic, playing a frantic, terrifying solo all its own. I get home. I lock the deadbolt. I slide the chain. I lean against the door. My entire body is shaking. He is right. I am a target, but I am not property. I look at my father's metal box on the table. I cannot wait for Rocco to save me. I cannot be a pawn in his game. I have to know. I grab my laptop from my bag. I sit at the table, my hands trembling. I take the small USB from the box, and I plug it in. My cheap laptop whirs. A single folder opens. It is not encrypted. My father knew I was not a tech person. The first file I click is a spreadsheet. It is not a recipe. It is a balance sheet, a very detailed balance sheet for something called the Port Orpheus Freeport. I see columns of dates, container numbers, and port service fees, millions and millions of dollars, and then I see the transfer column. All of it, every single cent is being funneled to a single entity, the Halation Fund. Okerhand, Halation, it is a name, a color, it is them. This is their money laundering pipeline. My father found it. My heart is hammering. I click on the last file in the folder. It is not a ledger, it is a document, a draft. My blood runs cold. It is a preliminary contract, an agreement between the Port Orpheus Commerce Committee and a shell corporation called Halation Logistics. It is the primary catering and logistics contract for the Riverlight Festival. The festival June and I are pinning our dreams on. The festival run by the same committee that employs Brooklyn. It is not a community event. It is a trap. It is the setup for their next massive payout. And I was about to walk right into the middle of it, desperate to serve them my food. My mind is a racetrack. I cannot sleep. I cannot think. I just stare at the spreadsheet, the Halation Fund, the Riverlight Festival. My kitchen brain kicks in. A trap this big, this complicated, needs logistics. It needs equipment. It needs a physical footprint. I start pulling my own files, not the data, but my paper trail, my invoices for flour, for pork shoulder, for cooking oil. I am looking for dates, for suppliers who also service the docks. I am cross-referencing my delivery times with the container shift schedules I know by heart. It is a long shot, but it is all I have. It takes me 3 hours, 3 hours of coffee, highlighters, and a growing knot of dread in my stomach. And then I find it, a manifest from last week, a priority shipment for Halation Logistics. I recognize the shipping agent. He is the most expensive, the one you use when you need something to pass inspection without being looked at. The Cargo Industrial Festival generators, 4 of them. But that is not the anomaly. I checked the dock's digital log. The container number for that shipment was changed. A last-minute swap, logged at 3 a.m, citing a damaged seal. The new container came from a holding yard known for being flexible. They are not just using the festival to launder money. They are bringing something in, something hidden inside those generators. I need help, not Rocco's help, not the kind that comes with bodyguards and silent threats. I need the truth. My father had one friend in this city he trusted, a man he sometimes met for coffee, always in crowded, public places. Theo Park, an independent reporter, the kind that digs into the city's cracks. He runs a small, subscription-only online paper, the Lighthouse Bulletin. I find him at a 24-hour diner, nursing a cup of black coffee. He's young, intense, and looks like he has not slept in a week. When I say my father's name, his eyes sharpen. I do not show him the drive. I just tell him the story. The Kestrel Authority, the Halation Fund, the Riverlight Festival. Theo just nods, his expression grim. You are walking in your father's footsteps, Ava. He was looking into this, too. I have proof, I say, my voice low. Proof of the money. Proof of the contracts. Proof is a dangerous thing. Theo says, who are you planning to give it to? The Meridian Bureau, the City Anti-Fraud Unit. Theo lets out a short, bitter laugh. Meridian Kestrel. They are 2 heads on the same snake. The Kestrel Authority is the muscle. They shake down vendors like you. The Meridian Bureau is the brain. They handle the paperwork. They lose the evidence. They deprioritize the cases. They are all on the Port Orpheus payroll. You walk in there with that drive. You will not even make it back to the elevator. My last hope of a legal way out of this vanishes. I am truly, completely alone. So what do? I whisper. You survive, Theo says, sliding a $5 bill under his cup. You leak it, anonymously, to me. Let me light the fire. They cannot shut down the whole internet. I go back to my truck, my mind reeling. The associate Rocco promised has already been there. The windshield is replaced. The side service window has been fitted with a new, heavy-duty pane of glass. It is perfect. Too perfect. It is a silent reminder that he is watching, that I am already in his debt. Rafe, the silver-haired man, is waiting for me in the alley. He's leaning against a black sedan, as if he has been there for hours. Mister, Giannini is pleased the repairs meet your satisfaction, Rafe says, his voice like smooth gravel. He also suggests that you should give us the USB drive, so you can handle it. We have resources. Miss Quintero, we can dismantle the ochre hand quietly. We can make this problem Disappear. I do not want it to disappear, I say, the anger rising again. I want it exposed. I am going to the press. That is a mistake, Rafe says, his eyes cold. You go public. You paint a target on your back. You paint a target on Theo Park's back. The ochre hand will not just hide the evidence. They will burn the building down. They will eliminate the threat. And right now, you are the threat. I am trapped. Rocco's men want to bury it. The city officials are part of it. And if I go public, I get everyone, including myself, killed. I brush past Rafe and unlock my prep kitchen, a small, rented garage space where I do my bulk cooking. I need to think. I need to cook. I am halfway through prepping a batch of caramel sauce for my flan, the sugar and butter just starting to turn a deep amber. When the door to the alley bursts open, it is Brooklyn, the corrupt inspector, but he is not alone. He's flanked by two large, silent men in dark windbreakers. They do not look like city inspectors. They look like thugs. Another surprise inspection? Brooklyn sneers, but his eyes are not on the kitchen. They are darting around, searching. We have a report of contraband stored in this facility. Get out, I say, my hand tightening on the metal spoon. Search the truck. Brooklyn orders his men. They move past me, into the truck's small kitchen. They are not checking temperatures. They are ripping things open. They tear open my flour sacks. They pull out my refrigeration units. They are looking for something. Where is it? Brooklyn says, stepping close to me. The drive, the one the old man left you. Give it to me. The ochre hand, they sent him. I have no idea what you're talking about, I say, my heart hammering. One of the men in the truck yells, It is not in here. Then it is in here, Brooklyn snaps, now his eyes wild. He sees my father's metal box sitting on the prep counter. Open it. No. He lunges for it. I react without thinking. I am a chef. My kitchen is my territory. I grab the heavy pot of boiling caramel. The sugar is over 300 degrees. I do not throw it at him. I just hurl the contents onto the floor, right at their feet. The molten sugar hits the cold concrete and explodes. A massive cloud of thick, choking, sweet-smelling steam fills the garage. It is a wall of white smoke. Brooklyn screams as the hot splash hits his shoes. The other men are coughing, blinded. Get her, Brooklyn yells, but he is disoriented. I do not wait. I drop the pot, grab my father's box, and bolt for the back door of the garage. I burst out into the rear alleyway, gasping for air, and run straight into a solid wall. A solid wall in a black suit. Rocco Giannini? His hands grab my shoulders, steadying me. He looks past me, into the smoke-filled garage. Brooklyn and his two men stumble out, coughing, their eyes watering. They freeze when they see him. Brooklyn's face goes from angry red to fish belly white. Rocco does not speak. He does not move. He just looks at them. It is a look of absolute, cold, final authority. The two thugs take a step back, their hands raising slightly, a gesture of surrender. Brooklyn tries to find his voice. Mr. Giannini, we were just conducting an official. Rocco takes one slow step toward him. Brooklyn stops talking. He turns, scrambling, and he and his men vanish down the alley. The silence that is left is deafening. I am shaking, my knees weak. The metal box is still clutched in my hands. Rocco turns to me. His face is not calm. It is a mask of controlled fury. He grips my arm, not gently, and pulls me back into the garage, kicking the door shut behind us. He drags me into the small, attached storage pantry. The air is thick with the scent of vanilla extract, dried chilies, and sacked flour. What did I tell you? He hisses, his voice low and dangerous. He is crowding me, backing me against a stack of flour bags. What did I tell you about staying put? They were looking for the drive, I yell back, my voice trembling with adrenaline and rage. They work for the ochre hand. And you were going to fight them off with a pot of caramel. He is furious, but underneath the anger, I hear something else. A raw, ragged edge. Fear. He was afraid for me. You cannot go rogue like this. Ava, do you understand what they would have done to you? And I am supposed to just hide and wait for you to handle me, to handle everything. I am shaking, a mix of fear and anger so potent I can barely stand. A dusting of flour from the bags has settled on my cheek, mixing with the sweat. He stops, his chest heaving, his eyes are locked on mine. He raises his hand, the one that was bandaged. He is so close I can feel the heat radiating off him. He lifts his fingers, his touch surprisingly gentle, and wipes the smear of flour from my cheek. His thumb brushes my skin. My breath stops. The anger in his eyes shifts. It changes. It deepens into something else, something dark and possessive. The air in the tiny room crackles, all the oxygen sucked out. And then he kisses me. It is not a slow, romantic kiss. It is a collision. It is hot, fast, and desperate. It is like a match strike, a sudden flare of heat and light in the dark. His mouth is hard on mine, demanding, and I am kissing him back, my free hand grabbing the front of his suit jacket. It is all the fear, all the anger, all the tension of the last 48 hours exploding. He groans, a low sound in his chest, and pulls me harder against him, one hand tangling in my hair, the other sliding to my waist, pulling me tight. And just as quickly as it started, he stops. He breaks the kiss, pulling back, but only an inch. His forehead rests against mine. We are both breathing hard. His eyes are closed, his jaw clenched. I am the one who speaks first, my voice a ragged whisper. I am not one of your pawns, Rocco. His eyes open. They are dark, turbulent. I know, I say, my voice gaining strength. I know they are using the festival. I know they are bringing something inside those generators. If you want me to stay close, if you want this, I gesture between us, then I am not a piece on your board. I am a player. I am part of the decisions. He stares at me for a long, silent moment. I see the calculation in his eyes, the mafia boss weighing the risk. Finally, he gives a single, sharp nod. All right, he says, his voice rough. We are players. We lay it out, right there in the pantry, the smell of vanilla and sugar hanging in the air, a plan. The ochre hand thinks they are clever, he says, his voice all business now. They will use the generators to bring in their contraband and use the festival's cash flow to launder their money. So we cut them off, I say. We stop the import and we grab the cash. My men will swap the cores of those generators before they even reach the festival grounds, Rocco says. We will replace them with clean units, whatever they are smuggling. It will be in my possession. And the money, I ask. You and your friend are still in the festival. Right. June, they grounded my truck. They did, Rocco says, a thin smile touching his lips. I'm having that citation reevaluated. You will be at that festival, and when the ochre hand moves their cash, you will plant this. He pulls a small black magnetic disc from his pocket, a GPS tracker. You will be my inside man. And the data. We cannot risk leaking it yet, not until we have the generators and the money. We need all the leverage. Later that night, I meet Theo. I give him a copy of the USB. Just a simple duplicate. Do not publish this, I tell him. Not until you hear from me. I will send you a signal. If you do not hear from me by the end of the festival, burn the whole city down with it. Theo just nods, his face grim. Be careful, Ava. These are not just gangsters. They are bankers. They are politicians. You are kicking the hornet's nest. I know, I say. I go back to La Sirena Azul. I take my father's metal box. I open the heavy-duty service panel under my steel flat-top grill. I wedge the box, with the original USB drive inside, deep into the insulation. Next to the gas line, it is the safest place I know. No inspector, not even a crooked one, will risk rupturing a propane line. Rocco finds me there, sitting on the truck steps in the dark. It is done, I tell him. He nods. He stands in the alley, watching me. He does not touch me. The fire from the pantry is banked, but the embers are still hot. After Riverlight, he says, his voice quiet, after this is over. I will get you out of this swamp. I will set you up somewhere else. New city, new truck, a clean life, whether you choose to stay or to go. He is offering me an escape. But I look at my truck, my name painted on the side. I think of my father. I am not sure if I am the kind of person who knows how to run. The night before the festival, the sky breaks open. A classic New Orleans thunderstorm, thick with lightning and noise. It is the perfect cover. I am parked a mile away, watching through binoculars as a white van with the Mariners Watch Maintenance logo pulls up to the festival staging area. The logo is a lie, a shell company Rocco owns. The men inside are not technicians. They are Vesper Vale. They move with practiced, silent efficiency under the cover of the pounding rain. They look like a pit crew. They pop the housings on the 4 massive halation logistics generators, lift out the internal cores, and replace them with identical clean units. The entire swap takes less than 15 minutes. Whatever the ochre hand was smuggling is now in Rocco's possession. The next morning, the sun is bright, the air scrubbed clean, the Riverlight Festival grounds are buzzing. I drive La Serena Azul onto the grass, my new window gleaming. My citation, as Rocco promised, was reevaluated. Brocklin's $500 fine vanished from the city database. I am wired. Rocco gave me a tiny, skin-colored earpiece. Just listen, Juan, he had said. No talking. Rafe will handle your audio. I am the bait. I park in my designated slot, right by the main thoroughfare, and start my prep. June is not with me. She is in the bell tower of the old St. Jude's Church, 200 yards away, with a high-powered spotting scope and a laptop. She is our overwatch, monitoring the generators. Theo is already in the crowd, posing as a food blogger, his camera live streaming to a private server. Rafe is somewhere on the perimeter, a ghost in the crowd. And Rocco. Rocco is nowhere. He's standing on the roof of a 3-story warehouse across the river, a black speck I cannot even see, watching his entire board through a scope. He will not show his face, not when the ochre hand has spotters of their own. The festival opens, the music starts, a loud, cheerful Zydeco band. The smell of my carne asada mixes with the scent of popcorn and cotton candy. It is a perfect day, but my stomach is a cold, hard knot. Around 1 o'clock, they arrive. Inspection, a familiar, greasy voice says. Brocklin, he's back. His face still blotchy from our last encounter, and his 2 thugs are with him. He looks furious, humiliated, and determined to find something, anything, to shut me down. Brocklin, I say, keeping my voice level. Back so soon? Official Kestrel Authority business, he snaps, pushing past me into the truck. We are checking every single vendor. He is lying. He made a beeline straight for my truck. He's here for the drive. He still thinks I have it. Go ahead, I say. Stepping back, I crank the heat on my flat-top grill. Mind the heat. I am in the middle of service. His men start tearing through my cold storage. Brocklin runs a gloved finger along a stainless steel counter, looking for dirt. Smells strong in here, one of the thugs says, his nose wrinkling. It is my spice blend, I say sweetly, throwing a handful of toasted cumin and smoked paprika onto the hot oil. A plume of fragrant smoke fills the truck. Then I open the warming oven, where I have 24 trays of cinnamon-dusted churros, the intense, sweet smell of vanilla and cinnamon, combined with the sharp, savory smoke of the cumin, hits them like a wall. It is an olfactory assault. It completely masks the faint, clean scents of propane and motor oil from the generator June and I installed. Brocklin, who is sniffing near the gas lines, recoils, his eyes watering. Everything seems in order, he chokes out, his face pale. He did not find the drive. He cannot pin anything on me. He shoves his way out of the truck, defeated, for now. As they retreat, June's voice crackles in my earpiece. It is not Rocco. It is Rafe, patching her through. Target acquired, Ava. Redcap, moving on the generators. I look past the crowd. It is him. The man from the alley, the driver. He is walking calmly, purposefully, toward the generator bank, a heavy tool bag in his hand. He's here to check on the contraband. "June, stand by," Rafe's voice says in my ear. The man in the red cap kneels by the first generator. He unzips his bag. "Now, June," Rafe commands. From the bell tower, June hits a key. She sends a high-voltage, low-amp signal to a receiver Rafe's men planted on the generator housing. There is a sound like a bullwhip cracking, a loud thwack, and a shower of bright blue sparks erupts from the generator's control panel. The man in the red cap shouts and scrambles backward, falling on the grass. He looks at the generator, terrified. He thinks the unit is faulty, about to explode. He grabs his bag, gives one last nervous look, and retreats, disappearing into the crowd. A small victory. I let out a breath I did not know I was holding. Then Rocco's voice, low and urgent, cuts into my ear. "Ava, move. Fall back to the truck now. They have a secondary team. They are not here for the generators. They are here for the cash. They are moving on you." My head snaps up. He's right, 3 men. All wearing the same gray polo shirts as the festival staff, are cutting through the crowd. They are not looking at the stage. They are looking right at me. And they are not Brocklin's thugs. These men are hard, focused. "Ava, do you copy?" Rocco's voice is sharp. "Fall back." I start to move. I turn toward the cab of my truck. And then I see them. A group of little kids, 4 or 5 of them, chasing a brightly colored balloon. They are the children of the other vendors, running wild while their parents work. They run right into the path of the 3 men. The men do not slow down. They shove the kids aside. One of the men pulls a small metal canister from his pocket, a smoke grenade. He pulls the pin. They are going to create chaos. They are going to use the smoke to cover their assault on my truck, to get the money they think I am holding, and to find the drive. The kids are still there, scrambling, terrified. I do not think, I just move. "Ava, no!" Rocco shouts in my ear. I ignore him. I put my shoulder against the heavy steel frame of La Sirena Azul and I push with all my strength. The truck lurches forward, rolling the 10 feet, its heavy bumper slamming into a fence post. I have created a wall, a solid steel wall between the men and the children. The smoke grenade goes off. A thick, acrid gray cloud instantly floods the entire area. People are screaming, blind, disoriented. The world dissolves into gray chaos. I can hear shouting, coughing. "Rafe, secure the primary," Rocco is roaring over the earpiece. A shape bursts through the smoke near me. It is the man in the red cap, back for a second try. He must have circled around before he can even see me. Another shadow, sleek and fast, intercepts him. It is Rafe. He moves like a snake. He does not punch. He just twists, using the man's own momentum, and slams him face first into the grass. A nylon zip tie is pulled tight around the man's wrists before he even knows what happened. Another man, one of the gray-shirted team, stumbles out of the smoke, his hand reaching inside his jacket. Rocco is suddenly there. He seems to have materialized from the air itself. He does not attack. He just moves, a blur of black, and shoves the man's gun hand straight up. He uses the heel of his other palm in a single, brutal strike under the man's sternum. The man collapses, the air driven from his lungs, and does not get up. I am coughing, my eyes streaming, and I see her, a little girl, maybe 4 years old, separated from her mother, crying hysterically in the swirling smoke. I lunge forward, scoop her up, and run back toward the clear air. I find her mother, a woman who runs the funnel cake stand, and push the child into her arms. The smoke is clearing. The screaming has turned to a confused murmur. And then I see him, Rocco, and he's standing 20 feet away, his suit immaculate, his face a mask of thunder. Our eyes lock. It is a look that stops my heart. It is not just anger. Though he is furious, it is a terrifying, raw blaze of something else. He's furious that I disobeyed a direct order. He's furious that I put myself in the line of fire. But under the fury, I see it. The same fear from the pantry, magnified 1,000 times. He's looking at me like I am a ghost, like he just watched me die and come back. He takes one step toward me, and then the sirens start, loud, wailing sirens, not police, the fictional Harbor Line rescue team, the same company whose logo was on the maintenance van, Rocco's cleanup crew. The remaining ochre handmen, seeing their team members down and hearing the sirens, panic. They do not fight. They just run. They melt back into the terrified crowd. Rafe taps Rocco on the shoulder, pointing to the ground where the men had been. They left it in their haste to escape. One of them dropped a black, hard-sided briefcase. Rafe picks it up. He does not open it, he just holds it. The trap worked, just not the way any of us planned. The Harbor Line rescue sirens are a signal. The crowd parts, and Rocco's men, now in medical-looking uniforms, move in with stretchers and crowd control barriers. It is a performance, a perfectly executed piece of street theater. They secure the man Rocco dropped and the man Rafe zip-tied. They secure the briefcase. The festival is postponed due to a generator malfunction. Rocco does not yell at me. He does not even speak. He just takes my arm, his grip firm, and pulls me away from the chaos. He does not put me in the SUV with Rafe. He leads me to a different car, a low, dark sedan I had not even seen, parked in a fire lane. He opens the passenger door himself. We drive in silence. The adrenaline is draining out of me, fast, leaving me cold and hollow. My hands have started to shake, an uncontrollable, violent tremor. My shirt is damp, clammy with a mixture of sweat, the mist from the smoke grenade, and the fine spray from a water main the first truck had clipped. He takes me to a place I never knew existed, an old brick warehouse by the river, one of the ones slated for demolition. But we go up a private freight elevator, and the doors open into a different world. It is a room made almost entirely of glass, perched on the flat roof like a jewel box, the Lysander greenhouse. It is filled with exotic, oversized plants, their leaves dark and waxy in the twilight. Through the glass walls, I can see the entire sweep of the Mississippi, the lights of the bridges just beginning to flicker on. The rain has stopped, and from somewhere far below, a lone saxophone is playing, the notes drifting up, out of tune and desperately sad. I am standing in the middle of the room, shaking so hard my teeth are chattering. Rocco is watching me, his face unreadable. He moves to a heavy oak chest and pulls out a folded sweater. It is dark gray, impossibly soft, cashmere. He does not ask. He just steps behind me and drapes it over my shoulders. His hands brush my arms, and a jolt of pure, sharp electricity cuts through the cold. It is not sexual. It is just contact, human warmth. "You're safe," he says, his voice quiet. I turn to face him. "You are furious." "Yes." "I disobeyed your order." "Yes." "I could have been killed. I could have ruined your entire plan." "Yes." He takes a step closer. The fury is still there, banked in his eyes, but it is warring with something else, that terrifying, raw emotion I saw on the field. "But you are not angry," I whisper, trying to understand. He looks at me, and his mask cracks. The iron control, the cold authority. It just shatters. "I was afraid I'd lost you," he says. His voice is rough, ragged. The word hangs in the air between us, afraid. It stops my heart. Men like Rocco Giannini are not afraid. They are not afraid of trucks or guns or rival gangs. But he said it. He said it about me. I see the armor around him, the cold, hard shell he wears, and I see the hairline fracture running right through it. I do not know who moves first. Maybe we both do. The kiss from the pantry was a spark, a desperate collision of anger and adrenaline. This is different. This is a collapse. His mouth finds mine, and it is deep and slow and hungry. It is not a fight. It is a surrender. His hands come up to cup my face, his thumbs brushing the tears I did not even know were falling. I can taste the fear on him, the metallic tang of his own adrenaline. He deepens the kiss, and it is overwhelming. It is too much. It is everything. He must feel me hesitate, feel the slight tremble of my body that is not just the cold. He pulls back. His eyes are dark, searching mine. He's breathing hard. Is this okay? He whispers. His question is what breaks me. The fact that he asked, the fact that this man, who controls whole sections of the city, who just took down a rival team without breaking a sweat, is asking for my permission. My voice is a choked whisper. Yes. I slide my hands from his jacket to his neck and I pull him back to me. This time, it is slow, it is conscious. There is no fumbling, no desperation, just a deliberate, careful exploration. His mouth is soft, his lips brushing mine, then taking, then giving. My hands trace the strong line of his jaw, the stubble on his cheek. His hands slide from my face, down my neck, over the soft cashmere covering my shoulders, to my back. He just holds me, his palms flat against my spine, pressing me closer. I breathe in, and I smell him. Cedar, cinnamon, and the faint, clean scent of the river air. My forehead leans against his, our breath mingling. Ava, he whispers, just my name, like a prayer. We stumble back, my legs unsteady, and my hip bumps into a small bamboo chair. It lets out a loud, ridiculous creak, breaking the spell. A small laugh, a puff of air, escapes my lips. He chuckles, a low, rough sound in his chest, and I see him smile. It is not the thin, dangerous smile of the mafia boss. It is a real smile, and it transforms his face. Sorry, I murmur, and he just shakes his head, still smiling. He guides me toward a low, wide couch by the glass wall. The sweater he gave me slides from my shoulders, pooling on the chair. He sits and pulls me down beside him. He does not kiss me again, not yet. He just looks at me. His gaze travels to my bandaged wrist. He lifts my hand, his touch impossibly gentle. He unwraps the medical bandage, his movements economical and precise. He looks at the dark, ugly bruise underneath. From his pocket, he takes a square of silk, a dark blue pocket square. He folds it carefully into a strip and wraps it around my wrist, covering the sprain. His knot is perfect. He is cradling my hand as if it is made of spun glass. I'm sorry, he says. For what? That this touched you. That my world hurt you. I hurt myself. Rocco, I say, my voice quiet, I did that when I pulled you from the road. No, he says, my world put you in that position. The air in the glass room is heating up. The fog from our breath is starting to cloud the window panes. He leans in, and his lips brush my throat, just below my ear. I gasp, my back arching. His hand slides from my waist, up my side, his thumb brushing the lower curve of my breast, just over the fabric of my shirt. My hand grips his shoulder, my fingers digging in. My heart is a trapped drum, beating against my ribs. He just stays there, breathing, his mouth against my skin. He is not pushing. He is not taking. He is just waiting, giving me the control. It is almost painful, this restraint. We just stay like that, wrapped around each other for a long time. The intimacy is in the quiet, in the slow, steady rise and fall of our chests, in the way his hand holds mine, his fingers lace through mine. We are two silhouettes against the fogged glass, the city lights blurring into watery stars behind us. Eventually, we're just lying side by side on the couch, the cashmere sweater now covering both of us. The adrenaline is gone, leaving a clean, quiet exhaustion. My father, I say into the silence, he found the USB in his restaurant in Miami. He was just a chef, but he was smart. He saw the patterns, the same produce company, paying in cash, always overpaying, always for things that never rotted. The halation fund, he copied their books. Rocco is listening, his eyes on the ceiling. He ran. He brought me here. He told me the drive was our insurance, or our death warrant. He said to open it only if I was in true danger. I turned my head on the cushion. He died thinking he had protected me from it, and I walked right into it. Rocco is silent for a moment. His free hand, the one not holding mine, traces the pattern of the water spots on the glass ceiling. When I was a kid, he says, his voice low. My mother and I lived in a shipping container at the docks in Red Hook, number 42. She was running from my father. I turn, my body shifting, to look at him. His profile is stark against the city lights. It was in winter, he continues, his voice soft, distant. We had one blanket and a kerosene heater that barely worked. I would lie awake all night, listening to the rain. It sounds different when you are inside a tin box. It sounds like the whole world is trying to beat its way in. He pauses, and I can hear the child in the container, cold and listening. I promise myself, he whispers, that I would never be in a box again, that I would be the one who owned the box, that I would be the storm, not the one hiding from it. He turns his head, his dark eyes finding mine in the gloom. He sees me. I see him. Two people, shaped by the same shadows, the same docks, the same need to survive. He brushes the hair back from my face. Tomorrow, he says, his voice firm again, the boss back in place. I cut all the dirty deals. Rafe will hand the briefcase, the generators, and the ochre hand file to a federal contact, a clean one. We cut the rot out of Vesper Vale. If you want it, we change our lives. He's offering me the world, a new life, a clean one, with him. I just look at him. I look past him, at the river lights, bright and steady in the dark. I do not answer. Not yet. The glow of the city lights in the Lysander greenhouse is harsh, the intimacy of the night before gone. It is almost 4 a.m. The adrenaline has worn off, leaving behind the cold, metallic taste of reality. And in the middle of that reality, on the glass table between us, sits the black briefcase. Rafe is here now, his silver hair immaculate even at this hour. He wears thin leather gloves as he methodically catalogs the contents. We expected cash. We were wrong. It is paper, stacks of it, ledgers, internal memos, and, most damning of all, a thick binder of permits, all bearing the official seal of the Orpheus Port Ethics Committee. The Ethics Committee, I say, the name a bitter joke on my tongue. It is the most brilliant front in the city, Rafe says, his voice a low murmur. He does not look up. They oversee compliance. They investigate complaints. In reality, they are a permit factory. They provide authentic, registered papers for contraband cargo. Rocco, who has been standing by the window staring at the river, turns. He picks up a stack of stapled documents, memos. Brooklyn, he says. The name is Ice. The paper trail is clear, a roadmap of the rot. Brooklyn was not just a low-level thug extorting food trucks for $200. He was the connector. He was the link between the Kestrel City Authority's muscle on the street and the Halation Fund's invisible money. He used his badge to clear their path, to ground their competition like me, and to ensure their festival generators were never inspected. The Riverlight Festival was never meant for the community. It was a purpose-built stage for a massive, one-time laundering operation. Theo arrives just before dawn. He looks pale, his eyes wide, clutching his laptop. My source at Meridian just confirmed it, he says, his voice tight. He pointedly ignores Rafe and speaks directly to me and Rocco. They logged the festival incident as gang-related vandalism. They are burying the report on the generators. They are actively covering for the ochre hand. They are covering for themselves, Rocco says. He begins to pace, a caged tiger in a glass box. We have the generators. We have their ledgers. We have their men from the festival. I can make this go away. My blood runs cold. What does go away mean? Rocco? It means I burn the assets, he says, his voice hard. I give my clean federal contact just enough to decapitate the ochre hand. I sacrifice a few pieces to save the board. The port continues to function. The city stays stable. It is the old way, the mafia way, the solution from the shadows. No, I say. Both Rocco and Rafe stop and look at me. No, I repeat, my voice stronger, echoing in the glass room. You burn them, and the rot just grows back. Brooklyn will be replaced by another Brooklyn in a week. The Halation Fund just gets a new name. The only way to win this, to end it, is to drag it into the light. All of it. A press conference, Rafe says, his voice dripping with disdain. You want to invite the hyenas to dinner? Yes, I say, my heart is pounding, but my path is clear. Right on the docks, at sunrise, tomorrow, we invite every news station, every blogger. Theo streams it live. We do it in the open, where the cameras cannot be told to look away, where the actual workers can stand and watch. Rocco stops pacing. He stares at me, and I can see the war in his eyes. His entire life, his power, his safety, has been built in the shadows. I am asking him to walk into the brightest sun, to give up the very armor that has kept him alive. That is a declaration of war, Ava, he says softly. Not just on the ochre hand, on the city, on the way everything works. I know. I step toward him. And if you do it, if you step into the light, you do it all the way. It is not just an attack. It is a new charter. Rafe stiffens. Miss Quintero. You do not just expose them. I continue, my eyes locked on Rocco's. You expose yourself. You announce reforms. You tell them, on camera, that you are establishing an open kitchen fund to support independent vendors and fight predatory fees. You announce total transparency in Vesper Vale's port fees. No more shadow charges. I take a deep breath. And you announce that you are handing over your own books. You will turn Vesper Vale's entire port division over to an independent auditing firm. Which firm, Rocco asks, his expression unreadable. Ward and Waxwing, I say. A small, two-person firm, incorruptible. They were my father's accountants. I have just asked him to systematically dismantle his own empire, to give up every advantage that makes him who he is. Before he can answer, my phone, sitting on the glass table, buzzes. It is not a call. It is a message from a blocked number. A photograph. My breath catches. It is June. She's in the bell tower at St. Jude's, her safe vantage point from the festival. She is asleep, her head resting on her backpack, but the photo is taken from inside the tower. The angle is close. She is not alone. Below the picture, a single line of text. Your friend pokes her nose in. Tell her to stop, or we will stop her. A small, strangled noise escapes my throat. The phone drops from my hand, clattering onto the glass. Oh, God! Rocco, June, they have her. They are in the tower. I lunge for the door. We have to cancel. We have to call it all off. I have to go to her. I have to... Rocco's hand shoots out and grabs my arm. His grip is like a steel trap. No. They will hurt her, I scream, trying to pull free, my nails digging into his suit jacket. They will not, he says, his voice a blade of pure, cold steel. He yanks me back from the door. If they wanted her dead, she would be... This is not an execution. This is a threat. They are scared. We made them bleed at the festival, and now they are panicking. He turns to Rafe, all debate gone from his face. He is the general now. Get her out now. Get Theo. Bring them both here. Lock this building down. Full Eosphorus detail. Rafe does not respond. He's already out the door. Rocco turns back to me. He grips both my shoulders, his fingers digging in, forcing my panicked eyes to meet his. His are black, empty of all warmth, all doubt. They are filled with cold, perfect strategy. We do not cancel, he says, his voice low and brutal. We accelerate. We end this. Tonight, we will protect June. We will protect Theo. But we cut the head off this snake now. An hour later, June and Theo are in the greenhouse, pale and shaken, but safe. Rafe's men retrieve them in a silent, fast operation. Rafe is briefing Rocco's private security team, the Eosphorus Port Guard. They are not dock watchmen. They are ex-military, clad in black, all high-tech. They are desperate for the drive, Rafe says, pacing in front of a digital map of the port. Brooklyn failed. Their festival team failed. They still believe Ava has the original USB and that the copy we leaked is incomplete. They are hunting her. So we let them find me, I say, my voice steady. No, Rocco answers from the shadows. We let them find what they are looking for. Rafe points to the map. We use a decoy. We've been monitoring their encrypted comms. They are arrogant. We will leak a rumor through a Vesper Vale guard we disciplined this afternoon. We will let him overhear that Quintero is panicking. She's moving the real package tonight. She's taking the original drive to Warehouse 7 to hand off to her reporter. Warehouse 7, the most isolated, darkest corner of the docks. It is a trap, Theo whispers. Of course it is, Rafe says. My Eosphorus team is already in place. The entire warehouse is rigged. The moment they cross the perimeter, they will be tagged with infrared markers my men can see. We have 10,000 watts of high-intensity spotlights rigged to the gantries. The night is a drum pulled tight. I am in the greenhouse with Rocco, watching a bank of grainy night vision feeds. June and Theo are in a secure room down the hall. At 2:03 in the morning, a sensor trips. They are here, Rocco says, his voice barely a breath. On the main feed, I see them, 8 men, moving in tactical formation, dressed in black. They bypass the main door, using a hydraulic tool to pop the side panel lock. They pour into the darkness. Now, Rocco says into his microphone. On the screen, the world turns white. The massive gantry lights ignite, flooding the cavernous warehouse with blinding daylight. The men shout, throwing their hands up, completely disoriented. From the shipping containers above, from the rafters, the Eosphorus team descends on ropes. They use flashbangs, the sound muted on our feed, just a bright pop. It is not a gunfight. It is a precise, professional capture. It is over in 90 seconds. All targets secured. Rafe's voice crackles over the comms. No casualties. We have their encrypted phones. Rafe brings the phones and a tech specialist to the greenhouse. The tech plugs into the first one. This is military grade, he mutters, but they were sloppy. They used a repeating key for their primary comms. We drink bitter coffee as the tech works, the sky outside turning from black to a deep, bruised purple. I am in, the tech says. He opens the message logs, calls, texts, bank transfers, and a name. The primary contact, the one giving orders to Brooklyn, to the festival team, to the men who just walked into our trap, the name at the very top of the halation fund. I read it, and I feel sick. Lysander Cade. Cade, I whisper. That is impossible. Lysander Cade he is a philanthropist. He funded the Riverlight Festival. His name is on the new children's hospital. Rocco looks at the screen. A slow, cold, dangerous smile spreads across his face. Of course, he says. The man who owns the festival, the secret partner, the one who has been hiding in plain sight, using his charity to wash his money. He turns to me, and his eyes are bright. Not with warmth, but with a new, terrifying energy. Now we have him. Now we go public. The dawn is not soft. It is a blade of cold. Gray light cutting across the Mississippi, glinting off the lenses of 24 news cameras. We are on Pier 4, the smell of diesel and river water sharp in the air. I can feel the thrum of the city waking up, a low, nervous energy like a snare drum practicing a fast roll. I stand at a small podium Rocco's men set up, La Serena Azul parked protectively behind me. Rocco is beside me, but not with me. There is a foot of deliberate, clear air space between us. He's in his black suit, a shadow against the rising sun. I am in my chef's coat, the white fabric a stark contrast. We are a statement the underworld and the street, standing together, but not merged. Theo is just off to the side, his phone on a gimbal, his face tight with concentration. The red live icon on his lighthouse bulletin feed has been active for 10 minutes. He already has over 20,000 viewers. Rocco steps to the microphone. The cameras flash, a storm of white light. My name is Rocco Giannini, he says, his voice amplified, rolling across the docks. For 15 years, my organization, Vesper Vale, has managed the logistics of this port. We've done it quietly, and we have done it with a private understanding of the city's needs. He pauses, letting the admission hang in the air. As of today, that is over. A wave of murmurs ripples through the press corps. Vesper Vale is withdrawing from every gray market compact, Rocco announces, his voice hard as steel. We are inviting the independent firm of Ward and Waxwing to conduct a full, public audit of our port-facing operations. Our fee structures will be made transparent, effective immediately." He gestures to me, "And we are seeding a new open kitchen fund, managed by Miss Quintero, to protect independent vendors from the predatory practices that have plagued these docks for too long." He holds up the first file from the briefcase. Practices like this, the Riverlight Festival, an event designed not for the community, but as a front to launder millions of dollars by an organization known as the Ochre Hand, using a shell company called the Halation Fund. The cameras surge forward, the questions come like gunfire. "That is enough," a new voice cuts through the noise. A wedge of tan uniforms is pushing through the crowd. Brooklyn. He's here, his face a mask of sweaty panic, backed by a dozen Kestrel City Authority officers. "This is an unsanctioned assembly," Brooklyn shouts, shoving a cameraman. "This area is under Kestrel jurisdiction. You are all trespassing. Shut this down." His men start pushing, trying to get to the podium, to the microphone, to the evidence. "Hey," a new voice. A woman I recognize from the gumbo truck. "We work here." Suddenly, the crowd shifts. It is not just press anymore. It is the other vendors, the longshoremen, the mechanics, dozens of them drawn by the commotion. They form a human wall, a silent, angry barrier between Brooklyn's men and the podium. "Let them speak," the gumbo lady says, her arms crossed. "Let them speak," another man echoes. The chant begins, low and powerful. Brooklyn is stopped cold, his small authority useless against the unified will of the docks. And then a new figure emerges, walking calmly through the crowd, which parts for him. He is smiling, his silver hair perfect, his expensive suit immaculate. Lysander Cade, the city's philanthropist. He walks right up to the podium, ignoring Brooklyn, and claps Rocco on the shoulder like an old friend. "Rocco, my friend," Cade says, his voice smooth and reassuring, projecting for the cameras. "This is a misunderstanding. I am here to support this as the primary sponsor of Riverlight. I am appalled by these allegations. We must have total transparency." He is hijacking the narrative, stealing our thunder, painting himself as a victim, a fellow reformer. Rocco looks at him, his eyes dead, but before he can speak, I step forward. "Mr. Cade," I say, my voice shaking but clear in the microphone. "Thank you for supporting transparency, because I have a question." Cade's smile tightens. He was not expecting me. I hold up the second file from the briefcase, the one I know by heart. "This is the primary catering contract for the Riverlight Festival," I say, my voice ringing out, silencing the crowd. "It is not a contract with a food vendor. It is a logistics contract with Halation Logistics, a shell company. And this," I hold up the bank ledger, "is the schedule of the first 3 payments totaling over $1 million, transferred from your foundation to the Halation Fund. Can you explain why your community festival was paying its own shadow company?" Cade's face does not change, but his eyes go flat, dead. "And, Mr. Cade," I say, my final shot, "here is the signature on that contract, and here is the digital authorization for the wire transfers. They are all yours." The silence on the dock is absolute. Theo has his phone zoomed in on the documents, his live stream capturing every detail. Cade stares at me. The philanthropist is gone. A cold, empty void is left behind. He gives a small, almost imperceptible nod to someone in the crowd. I knew he would have a contingency. I hear it before I see it. The same sound from that first night, the high-pitched whine of an engine pushed too hard. A heavy flatbed truck, the kind used for hauling containers, bursts from behind a stack of warehouses. It is not aiming for us. It is aiming for the crowd, for the press, for the other vendors. It is a ghost of that first night, a replay. "Move!" Rocco roars. People scream, scattering, tripping over camera cables. But this time, I'm ready. I am already in the driver's seat of La Sirena Azul. I had the keys in my hand. I slam the truck into gear, my foot flooring the accelerator. I do not hesitate. I spin the wheel and ram my truck, my entire life, straight into the path of the flatbed. Steel screams. The impact is a bone-jarring explosion of sound. My truck, lighter, is thrown back, but I have done it. I have broken his momentum. I have blocked him. The truck driver tries to reverse, to find another path. Rocco acts. He lunges for a heavy mooring rope tied to a dock cleat. It is no accident. He had Rafe rig it this morning. He yanks the rope and it pulls a heavy, steel tire-shredding frame right under the flatbed's front wheels. A deafening bang of an air horn blasts from the roof of a nearby warehouse. It is June, our signal, adding to the chaos, disorienting the driver. The battle is on. The press conference is now a riot. Brooklyn, seeing his chance, tries to grab the evidence box from the podium. Rafe appears from nowhere and slams Brooklyn's face into the wood, twisting his arm back and snapping a pair of nylon cuffs on his wrists. The doors of the flatbed truck fly open. 3 men in black jump out, carrying what look like explosives. Rocco's Eosphorus team, who had been blended with the dock workers, move in. It's not a fight. It is a clinical takedown. They are on the ground in seconds, the explosives revealed as fakes, just a scare tactic. I am struggling out of my ruined truck, my ears ringing, my shoulders screaming. I look for Cade. He is gone. He did not run into the crowd. He slipped away during the chaos, toward the West Pier, into the dark mouth of an old, damp processing warehouse. Rocco sees it, too. He breaks from the fight and sprints after him. "Rocco, no!" I shout. He is alone. Cade is cornered. I ignore the pain. I ignore Rafe, who is yelling for me to stay put. I run. I am not letting him go in there alone. Theo is right behind me, his camera still rolling, his feet pounding the pier. "Ava, wait!" We plunge into the darkness of the warehouse just as the heavy steel door slides shut behind us, slamming with a sound like a guillotine. The light is gone. It is almost pitch black, the only illumination coming from a few high, filthy windows, casting bars of gray light onto the floor. The air smells of rust and dead fish. "Well, well," a voice echoes from the darkness. "The boss and his little cook." Lysander Cade steps out from behind a rusted pillar. He is not smiling. He has a gun, and it is pointed straight at Rocco's chest. "Rocco Giannini," Cade sneers, his voice dripping with venom. The big bad wolf of the docks, trying to play the hero, trying to be decent. Look where it got you. Cornered by a philanthropist. Rocco stands still, his hands slightly raised. "It is over, Cade. My men have your entire team. The press has the data." "They have nothing," Cade's voice cracks. "They do not have the original. They do not have the drive. She does." His eyes, and the gun, shift to me. I'm standing 20 feet away. Theo breathing hard at my back, the camera lens a dark, unblinking eye. "Give me the drive, Ava," Cade says, his voice dangerously calm. "Give me the drive, or he dies. Right here, and your reporter friend will get to stream the entire bloody mess." The silence in the warehouse is absolute. A single drop of water falls from the high ceiling, hitting the concrete. The clock is ticking. One wrong move, one word, and this floor will be slick with blood. I take a step forward. I make sure my hands are visible, and I make them shake. Cade's gun follows me. Theo, brave and terrified, keeps the camera steady, broadcasting my every move. I hold my father's metal box out. "I do not believe you," I say, and I pitch my voice loud, clear, making it echo in the cavernous, rotting warehouse. "I do not believe you will shoot, not while the entire city is watching you live." Cade's eyes flicker. He knows about the camera. He knows he is trapped, but the greed, the desperation, it is stronger. "The drive," he hisses. "Put it on the floor, now." "Fine," I say. I bend down, my knees shaking, and I place the metal box on the damp concrete. Right between us, I push it forward. "You want it, take it." It is the oldest trick in the book. Greed. Cade's eyes are locked on the box. He cannot help himself. This is his one chance to get the original data, to destroy the evidence. He keeps the gun on Rocco, but he stoops. He crouches just slightly, his hand reaching out to grab the tin. It is the half-second I needed. "Now," I scream. I do not go for him. I kick the box. I kick it hard. The lid is not locked. I had rigged it myself in the prep kitchen. The lid flies open and a cloud of white and red powder explodes. A chef's special. A full pound of confectioner's sugar and a half pound of the hottest cayenne pepper I own. A pure, blinding, choking cloud. Cade screams. It is a high animal sound. The gun fires, a deafening explosion in the enclosed space. The bullet goes wild, ricocheting off a steel beam high above. He drops the gun, both hands flying to his face, clawing at his burning, blinded eyes. Rocco does not wait. He's a blur. He moves in, not for the gun, but for Cade. He does not shoot him. He does not hit him. He grabs Cade's gun hand, the one fumbling for the weapon, and there is a single, sharp, wet snap. Cade screams again, a new, agonizing pitch. As his wrist breaks, the gun clatters uselessly to the floor. It should have been over. But Cade is not just a banker. He's a cornered rat. With his good hand, he pulls a knife from an ankle sheath. He lunges blindly, wildly, just swinging. Rocco grunts, stumbling back. A dark, wet line appears on his shoulder, slicing through his suit jacket. Cade is blind, but he is still dangerous, still flailing with the blade. I pull the mini torch from my chef's coat pocket, the one I use for creme brulee. I flick the safety and press the ignition. A 3-inch, precise blue flame roars to life. I lunge forward, not at Cade, but at the knife. I shove the flame directly onto the steel blade he is holding. The metal heats instantly. Cade shrieks as the blade turns red hot in his grip, searing his palm. He drops the knife as if it is on fire, which it almost is. The great steel door of the warehouse explodes open, flooding the room with the harsh morning light. Rafe and the Eosphorus team pour in, a wave of black-clad efficiency. They do not have to do a thing. Cade is on his knees, weeping in agony, his eyes sealed shut with a paste of sugar and pepper, his hand broken, his other hand burned. Theo steps forward, his camera lens unflinching. He zooms in on Cade's ruined face. He pans to the broken gun. He pans to Brooklyn, who is being dragged in by 2 of Rocco's men. Outside, on the pier, the feed from Theo's camera must be playing on a jumbotron because a sound erupts from the crowd. It is not a scream. It is a roar, a deep, cathartic cheer from 1,000 throats. The live feed shows the Harbor Line rescue team, Rocco's men, handing Cade and Brooklyn over to the stunned, legitimate city police. The iconic Riverlight Festival logo on the main banner, the one Cade hid behind, is temporarily covered with a black tarp. It is shut down, pending a full audit. Rocco stands, his hand pressed to his bleeding shoulder. He's breathing hard. He looks at me. He looks at the camera, and then he walks past Theo, back out into the sun. He steps right up to the podium, ignoring the medics trying to reach him. He looks directly into the lens of every camera. "Vesper Vale will sign a new compact," he says, his voice raw, carrying over the sudden silence. "The Mariners' Charter. All port fees will be public. We will establish the community fund as promised. We will not move or profit from dirty money. My books are open starting today. If I am wrong, if I fail, boycott me, ruin me. But as of today, this port is clean." He is done. He sways, the blood loss hitting him. I move to him, pushing through the medics. I take his good hand. I look at the dark stain spreading on his shoulder. I lean my head against him, resting my cheek on the clean fabric of his suit, right next to the wound. He turns his head, his lips are next to my ear, and I know Theo's microphone is still live, still catching every sound. "You saved my life," Rocco whispers, his voice thick, for the second time. I close my eyes. I do not pull away from the mic. I let them hear it. I just smile, the grime on my face streaked by sudden, hot tears. The Meridian Bureau makes a formal announcement an hour later, claiming they are detaining Lysander Cade pending an investigation. But it is too late for them. Theo's data, backed by the irrefutable proof from Ward and Waxwing, is already everywhere. The public pressure is so immense. The city government has no choice. They have to follow through to the very end. That night, the lights on the river seem brighter. We're back in the glass room on the roof, but the sign on the door is different. Rafe had it changed. It is not the Lysander greenhouse anymore. It is the Moon River greenhouse. It is a small party, just us, June, her face bright with victory, Theo, looking exhausted but triumphant, Rafe, who actually smiles, just once, and raises a glass, and Rocco, his arm is in a sling, his shoulder covered in neat, white stitches. On the glass table, there is a single document, the new charter. He signs it, and then signs the second paper, officially transferring 20% of all Vesper Vale's port profits to the Open Kitchen Fund, my fund. June and Theo leave. Rafe nods and is gone. We are alone. The city is a carpet of lights below us. The only sound is the distant, joyful sound of a second-line brass band, celebrating something, somewhere, in the heart of the city. I walk over to him. He's standing by the glass, watching the river. I put my hand out, my fingers gently tracing the edge of the white bandages on his shoulder. He turns to look at me. He does not move. He just watches my face. He is asking permission, with his eyes. I nod just once. He moves, his good arm coming around my waist, pulling me to him. He is careful, so careful of his injury. He buries his face in my hair and just breathes, a long, shuddering breath. I wrap my arms around him, holding him, my hand flat on his back. We kiss. It is not the desperate fire from the pantry. It is not the fearful collapse from the night before. It is long and slow and deep. It is a promise. It is the end of the fight and the beginning of everything else. Our breathing slows, sinking together. It is not a wild, passionate scene. It is just complete. I listen to the drums, the sound of life, echoing across the water. I finally understand. I am not the girl in the wrong place, swept away by the current. I am the one who stood in the road. I am the one who grabbed the wheel and belay an entire fleet. And this man, who was once the darkest shadow on the docks, is now the light, and I am not afraid to look him right in the eye. Thank you so much for listening to our story. We would love to know where in the world you are tuning in from. Please, leave a comment below. Share your thoughts and let's connect. Do not forget to subscribe to Mafia Boss Stories, like this video, and give us your support by hitting that hype button. It helps get this story out to more listeners just like you.